I'm here today with Kim Crestani from Order Architects. She runs a free agent architectural practice, of which she consults and collaborates with government bodies and other architectural firms. I am fortunate enough to be interviewing her.
Hi, I'm Kim Crestani. I'm an architect. I've been an architect for about 30 years. Graduated in mid-80s, I'll say. Started at university in the late 70s at UTS, and I subsequently, pretty much straight after uni, I set up my practice, which was in Parramatta, and then I started employing staff, and I've been an architect ever since, through a whole series of changes and different iterations over the years. My father was a concreter, and he built lots of great buildings, including most of Harry Seidler's buildings. And then I essentially would go with him sometimes on site visits, and in the ute, and we'd drive out and look at buildings. And I got quite excited about buildings, and I wasn't really interested in the domestic things like cooking and cleaning and things like that. So I'd hang out with my dad, and then I started to really like buildings. I think I wanted to be an architect from when I was about 14. He built number 2 Glen Street for Harry Seidler, did the concrete work there, and I was actually there the other day, and it was beautiful. So he poured the concrete, he did MLC Centre, Australia Square, the Connaught building, so the beautiful mushroom at Martin Place, which you walk past. So all those things sort of encouraged me, and my brother's in the building industry as well, so that's, So I set my practice up in Parramatta, which was pretty brave because I was only about 25, I think, and a recession came straight afterwards, so it was me, one other person in a really small office in Lacroix Street in Parramatta. So, and then I built that practice up, and that flourished really. Well, it's gone through lots of iterations. When I started out, I built it up and up and up, and over those 20-year period, we got up to 12 staff, and I had a good sort of structure with some senior people and then some junior people. We went through a few dips and troughs where we had some recessions and so on, and then in 2007 and 2008, when the GFC hit, we thought we'd get through that. And unfortunately a lot of our jobs had to demobilise, so we scaled up back the practice, and then I was actually appointed to a government position. I was doing some contracting work, and then I saw an ad for the Director of Sydney Metro in Sydney, when it was going to be a CBD metro, and Director of Architecture and Station Precincts, and I thought, wow, that's pretty exciting. So I thought I'd go for that position, and so when I got that position, I then scaled back the practice, and I as you probably know, the City Metro project, that project was cancelled, deferred, which was a really sad time for Sydney. And then the coalition government got in, and then they reintroduced the Northwest Metro, or Northwest Rail Link, and so I went to work on that project. So for the last 4 and a bit years, I was working as a senior executive in the public service as the principal manager for architecture and station precincts, which was fantastic because I really learned a lot about government and transport. And so then I've recently left there, which has been about a year ago. I did some travelling, and then now I'm setting up again as a consultant. I'm actually consulting back to transport, to some agencies, and on design review panels and so on. So my practice at the moment is pretty much me, and I have an assistant, and then my big word at the moment is collaboration. And essentially I'm working with a whole raft of other architects, other practices, and finding that is a really, really good way for me to work at the moment. And I'm also on some independent design review panels and juries, and giving urban design advice to different levels of government.
And did you find that transport background kind of helps to be on those panels for urban designs and?
Yeah, I think so, because the work in transport's a really, there's very few architects who actually understand the transport space, and the ones that do are really good at it. And there's a couple of big firms that pick up the lion's share of that work, and the people who work for them are really, really talented. But in terms of smaller projects and so on, there's not many architects that understand that whole interconnectivity between all the transport modes, the privileging pedestrians in every aspect. So all that urban design and transport actually has been really good for me, because I totally understand that, and I'm quite good at critiquing that. I may not be as experienced as some of these other architects, I have to say, because I've been working in that space for a long time, but I certainly understand it, and it's been very helpful. I was in Parramatta. I started to get involved with a thing called the Parramatta Connection. I would go to functions and meet people and hand out business cards, and then I got onto some, I'd start to get onto some panels, and I was at the Institute of Architects, which is, I'd encourage any young architect to do that, because that helps you increase your network of people and so on, and understand the profession better. So I think it's a case of just getting out there.